Hey guys, I'm Tony, and welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to do a performance test on this Asus Zephyrus G15. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. So here's my desktop, and right off the bat, I have Windows default fan curve running. And everything will be tested on the Windows fan curve, except the games which will perform the best at performance mode. So the first test we have is Cinebench. And we'll just hit run. Alright, we're finished up in Cinebench R20. And right there we have 2,590 points. This is kind of underwhelming. It usually gets around 3,300. So I'm just gonna run it again. And as we are running Cinebench, let's check the temperature of the keyboard. So around the CPU, it is about 32 degrees. And near the back of the laptop, it is about 45 degrees. Right there we have 2,600 points. That's still a little bit overwhelming, but we'll just go with that. And next, we have the gaming test. And I'm just gonna test CSGO on this laptop. And in CSGO, this is all the settings I have it on. So if you want this for reference, I have all of them on high and still running about 140 FPS during game sessions. Since I'm not a really big gamer, I'm not sure what this means, but take this as a reference. And again, before I play the game, I'm just gonna switch it to performance mode on my laptop so we get the best frame rates. So right here we have CSGO running, and right now it's running at 115 FPS and on about 50 watts on the GPU. And let's play some games. And you can see all of my temperatures on your top right corner, as well as the wattage and temperatures of both the CPU and GPU. And I'm gonna put it on performance mode, as it is probably the best mode to play it on and optimize the CPU and GPU fan. So right now it's about running 140 to 160 FPS, which is fine for me. I think I'm doing just fine. And right there we see the CPU running in a mid 90s. And the GPU is power limited at 65 watts. There are metal screws all around and in the center of the laptop, so do take them off carefully. And each and every screws are different sizes, so do make sure that you're organizing all the screws. And I do recommend using a plastic pry tool to pry it apart. So right now we have the whole bottom took apart, and as you can see, the GPU and CPU are covered by these plastic, well, the middle are just open vents. As you can see, my hands is in the back, and so does this. Oh, and when you're taking it apart, be careful of this lip right here. This will, please just try to not break any of the plastic clips. We'll set that aside. So this is a GPU fan, CPU. And right here we have the RAM, the 8 gigabytes of RAM, and the other 8 gigabytes are soldered onto the board. And right there, as you can see, I have a heat spreader on some of my VRMs, as well as a RAM and this extra slot of NVMe SSD drive. And on the left here we have Intel Wi-Fi 6 and 1 terabytes of Intel 660p NVMe SSD. And the battery And the battery here is 76 watt hours on 15.4 volts. And on the two bottom here, we have the 2-watt speaker on each side. So now we have the laptop taken apart. We can test out what the performance will be like without the bottom cover. So this will be the best case scenario for this laptop. And just give me a minute, I'll get my laptop set up. So right now I have the laptop propped up for the fan intake from the bottom, as you can see. And same on the other side. And just give me a minute, I'll log in. And right now we have Cinebench running. And the laptop is propped up. And we're just gonna let it run for a minute. And right now the keyboard is running about 40 degrees Celsius, which is a little bit warm, but it's bearable. So right now I have Cinebench running again, and with the bottom lid removed. Alright, we're almost done, and in Cinebench, we have about 2,900 points, which is a little better with the lid off, but it's not really a big difference. And the GPU right now is running at 70 degrees, which is pretty good. And right now with the bottom lid off, I'm still getting about 140 FPS, at least within a CSGO. GPU's again running on 65 watts and power limited. And CPU is in a mid 80s, which is a little better than what we had before. Okay, as you can see, I'm not a really good gamer. That's not what I bought this laptop for, so I'm okay with that. So right there, you should get about the idea of having the lid and without the lid. And it's about the same, so I'll probably say just keep the lid on so you still have your warranty. So after a while of gaming, the keyboard is in the low 40s. And the palm rest is again in the high 20s. So which is a really good temperature. It is definitely better. And again, the CPU and GPU is still running pretty hot, so there isn't really a big difference between the lid on or the lid off. Especially if you decide to take those plastic cover out, you should take this as a reference. And that should conclude our testing with the lid off. And now I'm just going to put it back on. Just make sure you're being really careful and don't lose all the screws. And thank you guys for watching. So this will conclude our testing on the Zephyrus G15. Let me know any other tests you want me to test in the comments down below. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't, and thank you guys for watching. Peace. So in conclusion, I think there isn't a really big difference with the lid off or lid on. So if you are one of those who wants to take the plastic cover on the lid off, you can, but it doesn't really make a big difference. So in my case, I think I'll just leave the plastic on, since there isn't really a big difference, especially when you're gaming. You get maybe 5 to 10 extra frames. But for me, since I'm not a really big gamer, I don't think that's necessary, and I still get to keep the warranty. So that will conclude our test. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't, and see you guys next one.